the big obstacle to that is allowing all these immigrants in, 7 million immigrants in 3 years illegally.
It's actually not 7 million who've been allowed to enter. That's the number of encounters over the last 3 years. It's actually lower than that.
All of them are allowed to enter. They are coming right through. I've been down there. I watched over 2 hours that I spent there just between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. I watched 300 people coming through. Everybody's allowed through. Nobody's turned away.
Mr. Kennedy, I've also spent a lot of time on the border. 7 million is an inaccurate figure. It's closer to 6 million encounters over the last 3 years, and that includes people who were subject to Title 42 expulsions, meaning they were not allowed to enter.
And how many of those, what percentage of those people were turned back?
I don't have an exact figure, sir, but the 7 million you're saying is inaccurate.
There's also 1.5 million who have come over that are runaways.
So back to my question.
The number is approximately 7 million have come across and are here today in this country.
It is not 7 million over the last 3 years. That's just inaccurate.
General from 27 states now calling on the White House to make changes to its border policies. The coalition demanding an end to catch and release, which allows DHS to release illegal migrants into the country. More than 7 million migrants have illegally entered the U.S. so far under the Biden administration.
Well, what about the 7 million people that have come across the southern border and then released into the interior of the United States?
When you look at a lot of numbers, 7.2 million have crossed the border under the Biden presidency.
Speaker Johnson has said he would additionally like to cut funding for public broadcasting, PBS, which does receive some support from the federal government. It's interesting. I just have to say, on a personal level, I learned to read by watching Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and the Electric Company. That's literally how I learned to read as a kid. Why do you not think PBS is important?
China and North Korea have state-sponsored media. The United States does not need state-sponsored media. Listen, if Fox News or any other conservative news organization came to me and asked for taxpayer money, I would tell them no. And I certainly don't think we should be funding left-wing propaganda outlets like NPR or PBS. The American people are sick of funding institutions who promote values that they find repugnant, and that's what we're doing with NPR and PBS. And that's what we are hopefully soon, via a rescission bill, going to pull those funds back.
Okay, but Sesame Street? I mean, Daniel the Tiger? Wild Kratts? I mean, you have little kids, I know, and I'm sure you and your wife can bring them great educational programming, but a lot of kids might not have access to cable, and I didn't when I was little because cable didn't exist. But I mean, PBS really helps little kids. I mean, I'm talking specifically about kids learning how to read through Sesame Street and similar programming.
Well, they've already spun off Sesame Street to HBO, so that's not with PBS anymore. But what I don't think the government should be doing is funding these institutions that are radically left-wing and are oftentimes, even in their cartoon shows, geared towards young children, promoting far-left ideologies that are not teaching children how to read, but are teaching them the trans agenda and other things that large portions of our country do not agree with.
I like that guy. That is Representative Brandon Gill.
Oh, from
I
Texas.
really like him. I'm just starting to see him more. I don't know if he's new to Congress or not, but keep him on the radar, folks, because he's really good. All right. So, Nicole, what are your thoughts on this defunding of PBS and things like this?
Absolutely love it. Could not love it more. You know, they act like if we cut off federal funds, these shows are going to go away. There are lots of commercials and other advertisers who would jump at the chance to get their advertising in front of parents of small children. So yes, that's not going to be a hardship for them. And they're right. It is propaganda. It has always been propaganda. The good news is back when maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was more about the child. You know, being kind, making friends. Mr. Rogers, who are the people in your neighborhood? Get to know the folks who live around you. It takes a village, that kind of thing. Now you got Ernie and Bert trying to kiss and all this. I mean, it's just a mess. It is an absolute mess. So they're pushing their agenda. I think it was Lord Jammer 3000 that said that they're grooming the children. And he's absolutely right. And we've got to stop. There's no reason for tax dollars to be spent on this. They have more than enough quote unquote talent to raise the money on their own. We should back out of this situation. Absolutely.
Yeah, Shelley, imagine funding a news outlet that labels your values as extreme with your own tax dollars. And this is the reality of PBS and NPR. So I agree with them as well. What do you think, Shelley?
Oh, absolutely. Using your analogy, it makes me think of how about we pay taxes and we have our government screw us anyway. So it's like you're paying to get screwed and you're not enjoying it, okay? And then they want to ask you for more and more and more. Well, I don't have any damn more orgasms to give. I mean, come on, right? I mean, look, it's ridiculous. Cut it. I'm sick of taxpayer money, government funds, taxpayer money being used to fund any and every damn thing. If you have your business, your model, whatever your business model is, then use that and draw your own, use your own capital as resources. I don't care. I don't want Miss Piggy to be Mr. Dicky. You know, I want Kermit to stay a frog and all these other, I don't want all this. And if he learned how to read on Sesame Street, he's older than I am. Something's wrong. Because I learned how to read in learning ABCs and phonics and reading books, you know, see Jill run and see Spot do this. That's how I learned to read. I didn't learn to read from Sesame Street, so I know he's lying. He's making that up. Yeah. But cut all the taxpayer funds. I'm sick of funding everybody else's stuff.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Yeah, you know he's lying. You know he was just saying that to try to get to trigger Representative Gill. But again, as you mentioned, they're no longer just teaching kids how to read. Sesame Street has publicly supported LGBTQ plus communities with characters like Elmo celebrating Pride Month, talking about transgender ideology. PBS kids the same. They've been accused of promoting the idea that traditional gender roles are outdated, suggesting that fathers are just one type of parent and advocating for gender non-conforming care. So they're getting out of, if they would have stayed in just reading and writing, then they would have been good. No, they got to start all this gender ideology. And see, that's what they're mad about, because they were using this to push that to kids. They were using it to push it on kids, and now they can't do it.
They've been found out. That's what it is. They've been found out, and truth be told, you know, the American taxpayer has been funding a lot of foolishness. And now that the lights are on, there's a long list. NPR, again, I already said it. If it's not Tiny Desk, I don't, you know, and I'm willing to kick in to keep Tiny Desk as a person, not as a taxpayer. But other than that, it is straight up propaganda. It doesn't make sense for us to fund it, again, when they can easily get advertisers, right? There are lots of millionaire, billionaire Democrats who would love to have their name, their logo, their organization associated with this stuff. But it would give parents a heads up of what's coming. I mean, because if Planned Parenthood is your sponsor of Sesame Street, then you know what to expect, right? You know what to expect.
But I think what it is, it's not only the funding, but as we know, a lot of times PBS, you don't have to pay to watch that. Like, it's in hospitals, it was in the daycares, all over the place. Sesame Street, PBS, these stations were free. They were just on the mainstream networks. Right. And so they were pretty much, blanketed throughout many homes in the US. Yeah. And they were able to push this propaganda just without any type of pushback.
Yeah. So Jake Tapper said something about children not having cable or internet. Quite frankly, I think that's a good thing that they don't. Right. I mean, it's not going to harm them if they don't have it. If they don't have TV, internet, cable for a long time, that's going to be a good thing.